Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you? I hope you'd be fine. This is Think New Syllabus Mathematics, Book 1. And today we are going to do some questions related to exercise 7b after completing exercise 7a and having a basic concept of linear equations. Now we are going to head towards the statements and their conversion into linear equations and their solutions. So basically, this is something related to algebraic expressions that we have already covered in grade 6, where we used to convert the statements into linear expressions. And now it's time to move towards linear equations. Since we have developed the concept that there is a difference between expression and an equation. When there comes an is equals to sign, it becomes an equation. Like if I have x plus 2, this is an algebraic expression. But when I add is equals to over here, and put a number after this is equals to sign, it becomes an equation. This is the difference between an expression and an equation. So basically what we have learned in an expression, now comes a word with is and which turns it into an equation. Let's start with question number 1 and try to understand what has been given in this question. It says when loaded with bricks, a lorry has a mass of 11,000 kilograms. When loaded with bricks, what does it mean? It means there is a lorry and it is loaded with bricks, and together their mass is 11,600 kilograms. Okay, so I can say that mass of bricks plus when I add the mass of the two, I get a total of 11,600. That is what this statement means. When loaded with bricks, a lorry has a mass of 11,600 kilograms. Or we can say this, a lorry loaded with bricks has a mass of 11,600 kilograms. Or we can say a lorry, the sum of the mass of a lorry along with bricks is 11,600 kilograms. What does it mean? It means that 11,600 kilograms includes the mass of both bricks and the lorry. In this case, we are not provided with the mass of bricks nor the mass of the lorry, but we are provided with their sum. That is when we add the two. Like I'm saying that I have a 2 rupee note and I have a 5 rupee note, for example. So together, they gives me a sum of 7. Okay, so what does it mean? That I have one 2 rupee note and one 5 rupee note. But here I'm not telling you what is the mass of the bricks, nor the mass of the lorry. But when I add the two, I get a total of 11,600 grams. Now, to solve these type of equations, we need some other thing to figure out that how do we find the values of the variables. In this case, what are we going to do? We will suppose, since we don't know the mass of bricks, so we'll suppose the mass of bricks as B. The values that are unknown, we suppose them with variables. And the mass of lorry is L. So my equation would turn B plus L is equals to 11,600. This would be my first equation. If I'll come to know the mass of B, or I'll come to know the mass of L, I can easily figure out the mass of the other. For example, if I say that the mass of the bricks is, for example, 1,000 kilograms. So the mass of the lorry would be 11,600 less 1,000. Similarly, if I'm saying that the mass of the lorry is 2,000 kilograms, so the mass of the bricks would be 11,600 less 2,000. I'll come to know the quantity of the other. This equation tells me this. Then we have another equation, another statement which says if the mass of the bricks is 3 times that of the empty lorry, what does this mean? Let us try to understand. The statement says if the mass of the bricks, and we have already supposed the mass of the bricks as B. They are saying if the mass of the bricks is means is equals to, this is tells us is equals to 3 times. 3 times means is equals to 3 multiplied by whatever the quantity is given afterwards, that of the empty lorry. 3 times empty lorry. So I can write 3 multiplied by L. My equation would become B is equals to 3L. Now using this equation, we are going to find out the mass of the bricks and lorry both. Since it says that the mass of the bricks is 3 times, that is triple of the mass of the lorry. It means that if the mass of lorry is 1000 kilograms, the mass of the bricks would be 1000 multiplied by 3. If the mass of the lorry is 2000 kilograms, the mass of the bricks would be 3 multiplied by 2000. Whatever is the mass of the lorry, the mass of the bricks would be 3 times of it. Okay, now we have to find out the mass of the bricks. So we are going to use these two equations to figure out that what would be the mass of the bricks and the lorry. So what am I going to do? I'll write down the equation number 1 first, like B plus L is equals to 11,600. Then I'll go for the next equation. Here I'm provided with the value of B as 3L. So instead of writing B over here, I'm going to substitute the value of B with 3L. So it becomes 3L plus L. And since these two variables become similar, like terms, so we can add them. I'll get 4L is equals to 11,600. Now I'll solve these. So I will get the answer as 11,600 upon 4, which is equals to 2,900. 4 2s are 8. 3 remainder, 36, 4 9s are 36 and 0, 0. It means the mass of the lorry, L is equals to, L expresses the mass of the lorry. It means the mass of the lorry is equals to 2,900 grams. So what I did, I simply took the first equation and then taking the value of B from equation 2, I substituted B with 3L, and then when I solved it, I found the value of the lorry. But we have to find out the mass of the bricks. So what we are going to do, we will use this equation now. Since it's given that the mass of the bricks is 3 times that of a lorry, so it means we will multiply the mass of the lorry with 3 to get the final answer, and this would be 8,700. Here comes the final answer. It means out of 11,600 kilograms, the mass of the lorry is 2,900 and that of the bricks is 8,700. And if you look up the relation between them, so the mass of the bricks is 3 times that of a lorry, and also when we add them up, we will get a total of 11,600. It means we have got the correct answer. Then comes question number 2. For this question, let us first understand what the consecutive numbers are. Okay. So if we talk about consecutive numbers, the numbers that come one after another are consecutive. Okay. So these numbers are consecutive. Similarly, if we talk about 11, 12, 13, 14, and so on, these are consecutive numbers. So it means the numbers that comes one after another would be considered as consecutive. But when we talk about consecutive even numbers, so these numbers will have a gap of 2 every time. These are consecutive even numbers. Similarly, when we talk about consecutive odd numbers, so they are consecutive odd numbers because odd numbers and even numbers repeat with a gap of 1. So if I'll take the first consecutive number as x, if I'm talking about integers, so the next number would be x plus 1. I'll add 1 into it to get the second number. This would be the first number, this would be the second number, this would be the third number. Right? Let's say this is my first number. So if x is 2, the third number would be 2 plus 1, 3. The third number would be 2 plus 3, 5. The fourth number would be 2 plus 4, 6. And you see, they are consecutive numbers. But when we talk about consecutive even numbers, and let's say the first even number, I suppose, is equals to 14. Okay. So if I'm taking the first even number as x, then the second number won't be x plus 1. It would be x plus 2 instead. Why? Because every time we add 2 to the previous even number to find out the next one. So it would be x plus 2, then x plus 4. There would be a gap of 2 every time. X plus 6, x plus 8, and so on. These are the things that we have to remember when they talk about the consecutive even numbers or if they talk about consecutive odd numbers. Like if I suppose x is 14, so the second even number would be 14 plus 2, 16. 14 plus 4, 18. 14 plus 6, 20. 14 plus 8, 22. So you see, every time 2 is getting added into it, and so on. Similarly, if I take x as an odd number, let's take x is equals to 31. So my first number would be 31. The second number would be 31 plus 2, 33. Third would be 31 plus 4, 35. 31 plus 6, 37. 31 plus 8, 39, and so on. So you see, when we are talking about consecutive numbers, in general, there would be a gap of 1. So the numbers would be x, x plus 1, x plus 2, and so on. But when the numbers are consecutive even or consecutive odd, then there would be a gap of 2 every time. So if the question says, the sum of 4 consecutive odd numbers is 56. The sum means when I add 4 consecutive and the consecutive numbers are odd in nature, we will get a total of 56. So the equation would become, so first we are going to suppose the numbers, like suppose the first odd number is x. Then second number, third, and fourth. X plus 1, the third, x plus 2, sorry, this is x plus 2, this is x plus 4, and the fourth one, x plus 6. And they are saying when you add these 4 numbers, these are the 4 numbers, okay? Since we don't know any of the number, so we have to suppose something, and we are supposing them as x, x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6, and the answer to all of them would be x, x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6 is equals to 56. Now we will solve this equation since x, 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 and x. These 4 x are like terms, so we will write it as 4x, and then 2 plus 4 plus 6 is equals to 12. Now we will solve this equation just like we have solved the equations in exercise 7a. So it would be 4x is equals to 56 minus 12. 4x is equals to 44. X is equals to 44 upon 4. And the answer to this would be x is equals to 11. It means the first number out of the 4 odd numbers would be 11. But do we have to find out the smallest number of all? No, we have to find the greatest of the 4 numbers. It means we have to find the fourth number because that would be the greatest number. So if the first number is 11, the second number, first we are going to write the 4 numbers are 11, 13, 15, 17. How do I know? X was 11. So the second number was x plus 2, 11 plus 2, 13, 11 plus 4, 15, 11 plus 6, 17. So the greatest of all is 17. Okay. This is how we have to solve these type of question. Even if the sum of the 4 even numbers would have been 56, then also we have to solve this the same way. But if the question was like when the sum of 4 consecutive numbers is 56, then the equation would be like x plus 1 plus x plus 2 plus x plus 3 is equals to something, whatever it is. There comes question number 3, which says David is 4 years older than Sarah and Yasser is 2 years younger than Sarah. In this equation, when there comes these type of statements where the ages are given, then you have to figure out that whose name is repeated the most of the times. They are giving us the age of David in terms of Sarah, that David is 4 years older than Sarah and Yasser is 2 years younger than Sarah. So what are we going to do? We will suppose the age of Sarah as S. Suppose Sarah's age is S. David's age is D. And Yasser's age is Y. Okay. And then they're saying if the sum of their ages is 47, that is when we add the sum of David, Yasser and Sarah's age, we get a total of 47. So the equation would be like S plus D plus Y is equals to 47. This equation we have to solve, but for this we have to make the three variables similar. Until and unless the three variables are like terms, we cannot solve this equation because we cannot add two unlike terms. So what shall we do to solve this one? Now we will use the first statement, that is David is 4 years older than Sarah. What does it mean? David, D is means is equals to 4 years means 4, older means plus. When someone is older than other, then what do? First we find the age of the other one and then we add that particular number, how much he or she is older than the first one, and we get the age of the first one. So if it's saying David is 4 years older than Sarah, then the equation would be D is equals to 4 plus S. And for Yasser, it says Yasser is 2 years younger than Sarah. So what we are going to write? We will write 2 years younger means whatever is the age of Sarah, we will subtract 2 from it to find out the age of Yasser. So what are we going to do? We will substitute these values in this equation 1. I'm going to write S as it is, but in place of D, I'm going to write 4 plus S, and in place of Y, I'm going to write S minus 2. And now you can see that all the variables are in terms of S. So I can solve this equation. S plus S plus S is equals to 3S plus 4 minus 2 is equals to 2 and is equals to 47. So 3S plus 2, 4 minus 2 is equals to 2 is equals to 47. Now when I will solve this equation, I'll come to know the age of Sarah since S is equals to the age of Sarah. It would be 3S is equals to 47 minus 2, which is 45. And then I will divide it by 3. So the final answer would be 15. It means Sarah is 15 years old. After finding the age of Sarah, we will simply substitute the values in the given equation for David and Yasser as 4 plus S and S minus 2. So the age for David would be 4 plus 15, that is 19. And for Yasser, it would be 15 minus 2, which is 13. It means Yasser is 13 years old, David is 15 years old, and David is 19 years old, and Sarah is 15 years old. The age gap between them is of 4 years and 2 years. And when we will add the 3, that is 13, 19, and 15, the answer would be 47. It means we have got the correct answer. And what do we have to calculate? We have to calculate the age of their respective ages, means we have to calculate the ages of all three, that is Sarah, David, and Yasser. So what we did, first we supposed their ages in terms of Sarah, then we found the age of Sarah at first. After finding the age of Sarah, we put the values of her age in the equation for David and Yasser, and there we found their ages too. Next, we have question number 4, which says, if a number is tripled, what does it mean? It means when I multiply a number by 3, triple means to multiply a number by 3, okay? Or we can say, if a number is doubled, what does it mean? It means when I multiply a number by 2. Triple means, let's say, if I'm saying I have a number 4, so when I will double it, it becomes 4 multiplied by 2 is equals to 8. Right? The double of 4 is 8. But when I talk about the triple of 4, what I will do? I'll multiply 4 by 3. The triple of 4 would be 12. So when we have to double a number, we multiply it by 2. And we have to triple a number, we multiply it by 3. Okay? These are some of the common things that we are used to. Then they're saying if a number is triple, we don't know the number. So we'll say that suppose the number is n, or the number is x. Okay, suppose the number is equals to x. X is a very common variable, therefore we suppose them with x. If a number is tripled, it means that I am multiplying a number by 3. It gives the same result. That is, it is equals to. The same result means equals to. When 28 is added to it, it means the same number that we have supposed as x. They are trying to say, just choose a number, multiply it by 3 on one side, and choose that particular number and now add it with 28. In both the cases, you are going to get the same answer. So the equation would be, if I multiply x by 3 or if I add 28 with x, I will get the same answer. So what I'll have to do, I just have to solve this equation and figure out that what that number would be. So x multiplied by 3 is equals to 3x is equals to x plus 28. Now we know how to solve the equations. We will shift x over here. It becomes 3x minus x is equals to 28, which would be 2x is equals to 28. And then we have the answer as 14. It means that number is 14. Now let's proofread it. It says, if a number is tripled, what does it mean? If 14 is tripled, that is, I multiply 14 by 3. This is verification, right? It gives the same result. And what happens if I multiply 14 by 3? I get the answer as 42. So if I multiply a number that is 14 by 3, it gives the same result, that is 42, when 28 is added to that 14. So in this case, I'm going to get the same answer, that is 42. It means that particular number could only be 14, that when it is getting tripled or getting added with 28, it gives us the same answer of 42. Next, we have question number 5, which says a travel agency is planning a holiday for a group of people. Okay. Now, they have taken quotations from some of the agencies. The agency receives quotations from 2 coach companies. There are 2 different coach companies. One is Maya Express and the other one is Great Holidays. Okay. So what Maya Express charges, they are saying that whatever number of people you are going to have, we will charge $15 per person. Okay, like if you have 20%, the charge would be 20 multiplied by 15. If you will have 30%, the charge would be 30 multiplied by 15. Means $15 is constant. Okay, it won't change. And on the other hand, Great Holidays are saying that they charges $12 per person. That is, if you have 20%, they will charge $12 per person, $3 less than Maya Express. But they also charge a separate fee. They have a constant fee of $84. That is, whatever number of people you are having, they will charge $84 as a constant. Okay, there is no constant charge for Maya Express, but for Great Holidays, the charge, the per person charge is quite less than that of a Maya Express, but there is a fixed charge as well. Now they're saying if the total amount charged by each company is the same, find the number of people going on holidays. Since number of people is missing over here, so what are we going to do? We will suppose the number of people is P or X. We will start the question from here. Suppose the number of people is equals to X. Okay, so for Maya Express, acha, what are they saying? If the total amount charged by each company is the same, that is, whatever amount we pay for Maya Express, it would be similar for the Great Holidays. So we have to find the number of people. So what we will do, for Maya Express, they are saying that there is a constant charge of $15. So we will multiply X by 15. And since the charge is same for both, so on the other side, we will find the same charge for $12. That is, if we have X number of people, we will have a total charge of X multiplied by 12. Along with that, we have to add 84 over here, since there is a fixed charge as well. So it would be 15X for Maya Express and 12X plus 84. for Great Holidays. Now we will solve this equation, and after solving this equation, we will find the value of x, which is the total number of people that we have to calculate. So 15x minus 12x is equals to 3x is equals to 84. Now what we are going to do, we will simply divide it. So 84 divided by 3, 3 2s are 6, 3 6 are 20, 3 8s are 24. It means there are 28 people. You see? Now we can check the answer as well. They are saying that Maya Express charges $15 for each person. So if we multiply 15 by 28 persons, the answer to this would be 420. It means Maya Express would charge $420 for 15, for 28 persons. And when we talk about Great Holidays, so Great Holidays charge $12 per person. So their total price would be 12 multiplied by 28, which is 336. But then they charge a fixed amount of 84 as well. So we have to add 84 into it, and we will get the same answer, that is $420. And it was already given in the question that whatever number of people they have, the total charge is same for Maya Express and Great Holidays because of this fixed charge and a difference of $3 for Great Holidays. This is how we have to solve these type of questions. Inshallah, in the next video, we are going to solve more questions. Until then, take care. Do subscribe to my channel. Allah Hafiz.